All right. How you guys doing? I'm just going to be presenting a visualization tool I've been developing just for fun. It's known as ECUViz. So it's powered off of a very, very awesome Python tool that was developed called WireViz for visualization, primarily wiring visualization schematics. And the whole goal of this is to pretty much what would take hours and sometimes days of planning. This can do it in the matter of a few minutes or seconds. So this is the user interface over here. Right now we have a select amount of ECUs supported here and different chassis. Obviously, adding more and more chassis is incredibly easy. And I'll probably make another video kind of describing how one can do that. We have a definition file that has different vehicle chassis alongside with pinouts unique to each one, and it makes it incredibly simple to do that. As you can see, we have like a Series 4 RX-7. If you guys know me, a big RX-7 guy, but these are just a few chassis that I'm very familiar with as far as wiring. So we have like the IS300, 240SX, and E36. But for this demonstration, let's go all out crazy. So let's do a 13B S13. And as you can see, we have a couple other engines like the RB25, SR, KA, 13B. So we have a select amount of ECUs here from the Link Atom series, so the G4X series, Haltech Elite, ECU Masters, EMU Black, and I'm going to be adding a ton more ECU support. This is just, things I've just tested, and I've been actually using this tool that I've been developing for a lot of my customers and projects that I've been doing the past month or two. So I've been my own beta tester. As you can see in the Generals tab, very simple. As you can see, there's an option it's by default selected use factory tachometer. Reason being is anyone that's not using the factory tachometer may be using like a CAN bus gauge or a CAN display in place of the traditional, tachometer that would be on most cars from the 80s, 90s, and even early 2000s, like the IS300. In most cases, this is just going to be selected. Most people are going to be using this. If you're using like a Haltech IC7 or a Link Strata Dash, then obviously you wouldn't be using that and you would have that checked off. Here's the basics tab. So this is essentially, well, the essentials that you would have in every single engine harness. TPS, I only have a few TPS definitions in here, but let's just say we wanted to use a Series 6 RX-7 TPS, and a lot of RX-7 guys like injector dynamic injectors alongside with most of my customers, so they'll be using EV14 injectors in some cases, but we have EV1, EV14, and obviously I can add EV6 definitions. And commonly in the RX-7 world or the 13B world, a lot of people will go with either LS coils or even IGN-1As. So let's just select IGN-1As here, and very commonly we'll just use GM intake air temp and coolant temp sensors. But as you can see, there are different definitions if you wanted to run a different coolant temp or intake air temp sensor. Lastly, this is a pretty big one, and I'm pretty happy I actually did incorporate this. I'll show you guys actually how this works. But as you can see, we have the standard crank angle sensor that you'd see on a 13B engine on a Series 4 or 5. In some cases, people will run like a full function engineering trigger kit. So in this case, let's actually get a little creative and run that. That's also a nice option for high horsepower applications. And this is the one where a lot of people will have fun. So you have the ability to add flex fuel. Pretty much the flex fuel sensor everyone uses is the same. And multiple CAN devices. So let's say we wanted to add like a Link CAN Lambda. In this case, we could. Then here on our auxiliary options, there's a ton of options here. Let's say we want to run an idle control valve, and we want to add electronic boost control. As you can see in real time, it actually shows us how many auxiliary options we have left, so we can add 2 more. So we'll add 2 more. Let's just add 2 cooling fan outputs. So let's say we want to have a low speed and a high speed output. We can have that here. Alongside with that, we have the ability to add analog inputs. So if you see here, right here at the top, it actually is really nice to have this to do a lot of planning and figure out what ECU you want to run. So let's say we do a link storm. Obviously now we have 2 more auxiliary outputs and a ton more analog inputs. And then we also have some additional digital inputs. And then we go back to our monsoon and that updates in real time for you. So this is really, really nice for planning, and this comes in clutch. And we can just do update preview here. And if you look to the left, within a matter of seconds, we have a full diagram kind of showing us a pretty good idea of what we're working with. So you can see we have the provisions here for the full function engineering trigger kit, and really, really gives you a great idea for planning. And I'm pretty stoked on how this turned out. I'm going to be working on a couple things as far as user interface and usability is concerned, but this is just kind of just to demonstrate what we have so far. So let's just add a couple analog inputs in here. Let's say we want to add an external map sensor. That's always nice to add, and maybe a fuel and pressure sensor. We'll just add 2 pressure sensors, get the most out of the IO, and now we have 0 auxiliary outputs and 0 analog inputs left. What's really nice is as we do this, we can also figure out things as far as planning from different suppliers. So as you can see, this is pretty much the majority of the connector summary here. So as you can see, our TPS, our injector connectors, the quantity, so for example, let's say we wanted to use a generic DT connector right here. It will give you the link to the kit from a couple of different sources. Some other features I'll be adding in the next video. I'll update you guys. I'll show you best pricing, lowest pricing, and things like that, so you can sort it as so. We can also just hit update preview here, and as you can see, it updates that preview. So if you remember, we added a couple analog inputs here. So we have our TPS, we have our external map sensor, and then 2 pressure sensors. What's really nice is you can also just download this as a PDF like so, and well, it's actually a PNG, and you get a full view. So this is really nice. You can view this on an iPad or whatever, or print this out and kind of take some notes and do some planning here. So this is a great way to bootstrap a lot of your planning. As you can see, it's pretty crazy. A S13 with a 13B. If you wanted to wire it, this could turn your ideas into a reality. That's pretty much it. If you guys are interested, I'll have the link to the GitHub repository. Right now, again, work in progress, but pretty stoked to demonstrate it and finally show it to people who were intrigued by it.